I'm a top 500 support player both seasons now in Marvel Rivals, so today I'm going to be sharing with you the most common mistakes I see from low elo players and how you can fix them. In my opinion, these are some of the most fundamental mistakes people below Grandmaster make, so fixing these should easily get you out of the metal ranks. So the first mistake we're going to talk about is staggering. Staggering is when you or your team die one by one without ever fully regrouping or trading to keep the fight even in numbers. When you lose a fight, it's best to either back out if you can make it to safety, or just die quickly so you can rejoin your team. Winning fights is often a numbers game. If you get a pick and make it 6v5, you're more likely to win the fight, and vice versa. So for example, let's say you're about to start a fight, but 2 people on your team instantly die. In this situation, it's better to back out if you can, or if you and your team are already committed to the losing fight, just die quickly so that way you can regroup with your team from spawn. The worst thing—
what I would say is if you're not attacking and you're defending and this happens, try to play as defensive as possible. If you have any like characters that can place anything down or traps or whatever, like for example Penny's mines, to like kind of space them out, or if you have tanks that you can just keep pumping with heals and then just let the DPSs do fuck all, like that's probably the best you can do in that kind of situation. But if you're attacking, yeah, you either just run in and die or back off, like, you know, whichever is obviously the fastest, because you don't care about your KDA in this game. The whole point is to get that objective, so as long as you can get there faster and as a team, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be there as a team. If you guys are split off, it's just you're gonna fall apart, get picked off one by one, like he's saying.
Thing you can do here is just go in without any follow-up from your team and die alone. Also, something to know is you'll often hear people refer to this as a reset, so if your teammates call for a reset, now you know to regroup so you can take an even 6v6 fight. Mistake number 2 is one that's incredibly easy to fix, and that is just to track the enemy ultimates. When you're tracking the enemy ultimates, it gives you an idea of how you need to play and how you're able to play. For example,
because this whole game is literally just rock, paper, scissors, shoot with fucking ults. Like, you need to— the best thing you can do, like he's saying, is to know when people are going to ult, because then you can counter ult. So you can either wait for them to ult, or say their ult isn't back up yet. Oh, well, now you don't have to worry about being counter ulted, if that makes sense.
Let's say you're playing strategist and you have your Luna Snow ult and you're playing against a Star-Lord. If you're keeping track of the Star-Lord ult and you know he either has it or is going to have it soon, now you know you need to hold your Luna Snow ult to save your team. If you know that Star-Lord doesn't have his ult, now you know that you can use your Luna Snow ult without getting punished to help win a fight instead. It also helps with positioning. For example, if you know the enemy Doctor Strange has his ult, then now you know you need to play back and avoid being too clumped to make sure that you can dodge it. Knowing when you—
or you just insta-kill the Doctor Strange. Like, come on, guys.
You can get value out of your own ult, and how you can deny the enemy value from their ult is incredibly important. And the easiest way to track the enemy ults is to just look at the ult charge in the kill cam if you die. But another way is to just assume that in a mirror matchup, for example, if both teams have a cloak and dagger, both heroes will be getting ults at around the same time. Moving on, we have mistake number 3, which is not positioning on off angles enough. This is something that's important for both duelist and strategist players. An off angle is a position that is basically not directly grouped and clumped with your team. So it could be slightly to the left or to the right, or it could be on high ground while your team is on low ground. The goal of an off angle is to be able to safely output damage from a position where the enemy team is too worried about your team to be able to focus on you.
If you're a Moon Knight player, or what's like another one that's like really good at this, like Namor can do it too, like Moon Knight and Namor. If you're like off in an off angle, bro, you will literally like destroy the entire team before they even realize there's a Namor or a Moon Knight behind them. Like, it's so good. As long as you don't, like, I guess if you throw the Unk down, then the Moon Knight strat might not work as well. But if you already had the Ankh there and they walk into it, they might be less likely, because they'll kind of see the Ankh where it's flying from. But, you know, you can ricochet just by them being grouped up.
There are a couple of ways
just
that off angles
damage.
play out. First, if nobody on the enemy team looks at you while you're on an off angle, it means you can do damage for free. This can help you find a kill, force supports to heal them, or force cooldowns. The second way it can play out is the enemy team does start focusing you, at which point you should just disengage and find cover. This is gonna—
which might sound like a waste, but this is actually good, because then the enemy team is gonna, even if not all of them turn around, even if just one turns around, that's one that's one person not doing their job for that team fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's either not healing, they're not doing damage, or they're not tanking. And that means that your team that was in front of them is now behind them and is just giving them the back shot to do.
pull pressure away from your team, allowing them to take space back, do more damage, or even find kills. Something to keep in mind is you should always be positioning around cover, whether you're in an off angle or not. If you're playing on an off angle slightly to the left or right of your team, but you're in the open, you're just an easy target for the enemy team. Also, you need to remember your goal with being on an off angle is just to apply more pressure. It can help you find kills for sure, but staying too long or being greedy for kills and dying for it defeats the entire purpose.
That's why I said, like, you don't even need to get a kill as long as, like, even if you just divert the attention or you're just, you know, adding more damage, putting in pressure, you're doing your job. So even if they end up finding you and turning around, like, you've already done a job by distracting them and letting them, like, you know, they're lifting pressure off your team. Like, now they're not pressuring your team, they're trying to pressure you, which sucks for you, but that's really good for your team, and that's going to win you the objective.
Now let's talk about your ultimate abilities, because a lot of lower ranked players hold their ultimates way too long.
Oh my god, bro, I swear, even in gold, plat, freaking diamond, bro, these people be holding their ults like it's a baby, bro. Use your ult. Like, don't use it instantly when you get it, but like, once you get your ult, you should be looking for a way to use it, unless you are a healer or a strategist, whatever you want to call them. Then you should be using it, like, you know, looking for anything that is going to fuck up your team and use it as defensively as possible. Unless you're Loki, bro, then, you know, you just 1v5. You know, Loki mains out there, shout out.
Depending on your hero, it can take about 1 to 2 minutes to build your ult charge up, meaning if you use your ult within a minute or so of having it, you could easily use 5 or 6 ultimates in a 10-minute game.
Literally.
Something that's really common is people will hold their ults for the perfect opportunity to—
Yeah, you don't need the perfect opportunity. Like, you, bro, stop trying to make them TikTok clips, bro. You don't need to be 1v5, 1v6ing, bro. You don't need to be wiping the entire team with your ult. You just, if you even just get 2 or 3 of them, that wins you the team fight. Like, Star-Lord, it's like he was saying, when Star-Lord ults, bro, like, you can get at least 3 picks in just a normal team fight, and if the rest run away, oh well, at least you got rid of 2 of the supports and 1 of the DPSs. Now they just have 2 tanks and a DPS. Now you guys just destroy them, your team cleans it up, or guess what? They run away, and guess what? You have the objective. That's what you need. That's what you need to win. It's not TDM. It is not team deathmatch. It is not, you know, battle royale, kill as many people as possible. Even in a battle royale, your goal isn't to get as many kills. Your goal is just to survive. In this game, your goal is just to get that objective. That is all that matters. That objective and that elo. Even if you're playing quick play, all your goal is to get that objective. Like, that's all it is. Now, obviously, it's not as serious, and it doesn't really matter if you win or lose as much in quick play, but, like, I'm sure for most people, it still doesn't feel good losing. You know what I mean?
to use it, which could easily take an extra 1 to 2 minutes. In that time frame of holding your ultimate, you could have easily built another one back up. If you see an okay opportunity to use your ult, whether it results in just a kill or two, or only forces the enemy to react with their own ults, there is still value there, even if it's not the team wipe you wanted. For example, using a duelist ult to force a strategist to use an ult in return is a completely fine trait. It can open opportunities for your other teammates to find value with their own ultimates, or it can just give you an advantage going into the next fight when your team now has 2 support ultimates up and the enemy team only has 1. I like to think of the phrase, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. It's hard to find the perfect opportunity to ult, but there will be plenty of good opportunities instead if you're looking for them. While
also, think about it this way. You might not get the perfect ult the first, second, third, fourth, but maybe you'll get it the 5th time. Like, if you're using your ult every time you get it, you're going to be able to pump out around 5 ults per match, at least 3. It depends how short these rounds are, but even in a round, like, you should be getting 2 ults per round, so you should at least be getting 4 if you're playing correctly, right? So that is 4 chances to get a perfect ult, and you don't need the perfect ult. But I'm just saying, if you really want that dopamine hit, it will come. You just have to be patient.
The topic of using abilities often, let's talk about your normal abilities, otherwise known as cooldowns. Lower ranked players tend to make the exact same mistake with their cooldowns as they do with their ults, which is just not using them often enough. The same exact concept I just talked about applies here as well.
Do you know how many Luna Snows I see not using their guard on anybody? Like, if there's no one that you don't think you're going to be able to heal, put your guard on your other healer, so then they are getting healed and you don't always have to turn to your left or right or behind you to heal them. Like, It's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I swear I see so many mantises, they don't press the heal button, or they don't press the empower button, or they don't press the sleep button. It's always one. No one ever presses all 4 freaking buttons, bro. They're always like, I'm just gonna heal and I'm just gonna empower, but I'm never gonna use my sleep all game, bro. Like, it's insane. Or like, I remember one time I went off a Mantis, bro, he did not empower me once through the entire game. I was like, where's my empower, Mantis? And Mantis, where's my empower, bro? Where's my empower? And you know what? He fucking raged at me, and then 2 seconds later, he was my friend. It was like literally 2 seconds later, he's like, you know what? You were right. I'm sorry for being a dick. And it's like, okay, cool. Move on with life. It's not that hard.
Most cooldowns are incredibly short, less than 20 seconds or so. So the more often you use them, the more opportunities you're going to create for yourself to find kills, trade cooldowns back, or force ults from the enemy team. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity to use your Mantis Sleep to kill an enemy duelist or strategist. Use it on the tank who's too far up, or the Black Panther who's diving on your teammate. This isn't to say to just randomly throw out your abilities and waste them, but you should always be looking for an opportunity to use them in an efficient way if you can. If you want to hold your ability to counter something, that's perfectly fine, but just don't hold your abilities for no reason. So now I've talked about how you should be using your abilities more often, but is there a time when you shouldn't be using things like ultimates? Actually, there is. Mistake number 6 is using your ultimates in a fight that is already won or lost.
Yeah, when people put down 3 ultimates, I got Storm ulting, I got freaking freaking Luna ulting, and I have freaking Moon Knight ulting all in one goddamn freaking time. And this is a real story. Like, it happens so often too. This literally happened the other day. Like, either calm your ultimates or ping that your ultimate is 100% so that people know you're about to use it. Like, I don't know why people are so against using voice chat. Like, no one had a problem using voice chat in Call of Duty. No one had a problem with using voice chat in freaking Overwatch. So why do we have a problem in Marvel Rivals? Are we like scared of Disney? Can we not talk around Disney, bro? Do I like not know about some conspiracy?
Sometimes it can take a lot of ultimates to win a fight, but in general, you want to use as few as possible. This is called ult economy, and if you can win a fight using fewer ultimates than your opponent, it gives you an advantage going into the next fight. So for example, if it's a 6v6 fight and 2 people on your team use their ults and you kill 3 people, you probably aren't going to need to use yours to secure the fight. Sure, the fight might be over sooner, but unless you're under immediate pressure to win the fight fast, it's much better for you to hold your ult until the next fight. And the same—
I'm gonna be real, there's like never a reason that 3 people should be using their ults. Like, maybe in overtime you use a healing ult and then a storm ult, or like, you know, some kind, like a defensive and an attack ult, but there is not many of those cases. That is like part of the 1%. So stop doing it. If you see someone ulting, and also you don't even need to see it, you literally hear I'm legendary or whatever the fuck. I don't even remember half the ults, like pulse cannon or whatever the fuck he says. I don't even remember.
Goes the opposite way. Sometimes it's better to let the enemy team just use 3 to 4 ults to win a fight, while you guys only use 1, reset, and hold your ults for the next fight. Again, just avoid using your ultimates when the fight is already won or lost. Mistake number 7 is an incredibly simple one to fix, and that is please just break the enemy utility.
Oh my god, no one breaks the frickin' nest. No one breaks the mines that aren't covered in the web. No one destroys the onks. No one destroys the Namor squids. I'm gonna kill someone, bro. I swear.
Walls, Moon Knight Onks, Namor Squids, anything else I forgot to mention, they all provide incredible value to their respective characters, and when you're actively breaking utility, it means you and your team take less damage and have an easier time playing the game. A tip to make this even easier for you is to just listen to hero voice lines. Normally, they will have a specific voice line dedicated to things—
literally what I just said like 2 seconds ago, bro.
like the onks or the squids, letting you know there's one around you to break. Another incredibly common mistake—
or maybe just have eyeballs. Open those eyes. You can literally see them. Woo! Oh. Like, it's not that hard, bro.
I see is players trying to force a hero when it's not working. That doesn't necessarily mean you're dying a lot, but just in general having a lack of value. For example, if you're playing Black Panther into a Namor with Luna team up, you have to ask yourself if you're really accomplishing the goal of your hero. Can you assassinate the backline, or at least be a distraction, pulling multiple enemies away from your team? Or are your—
yeah, like, why are we having a Psylocke and a Spider-Man on the same team? neither of you are diving and neither of you are killing because you don't have a DPS that is like putting pressure on them, and we don't have 3 healers, so we can't do anything here. Now maybe if it was Moon Knight or Punisher and Psylocke, or Punisher or Moon Knight and freaking Spider-Man, I would understand it. But even then, it's like most Spider-Mans are throwing the game.
Dives just getting shut down. What
like
value means here is going to depend on which hero you're playing, but in general, if you're dying constantly and not having an impact on the game, whether it's through kills, distracting, or even holding space if you're a tank.
Now, I get it if you have a lot of kills, because this happens to me. You're the only one on the objective. You're the tank. You push up there with the team. They walk away even though nothing's happening, and they just leave you there to die. That happens to me all the freaking time. Or when, if you're trying to run onto the objective to stop it from going to to stop the overtime from failing and losing the game, die as much as you need. I get it. Like, try to do as much as you can, but it's a losing battle. I get that. Don't save your KDA. You need to get that objective. That's all that matters. They'll flame you at the end. Who cares? But I don't know, bro. These teams need to stop pussyfooting around the objective, bro. They need to walk up to it and freaking claim it. Because I swear, bro, like, they're not, like, I understand, like, when, you're in that phase where both teams are poking each other. Like, this happens a lot in higher elo, too. But it's like, it's not happening. It's literally like we have cloak and dagger ult where we push in with the ult and then we just walk away. What's the point?
Then that is personally when I would consider swapping to a different hero. If you force a certain hero when it isn't working for too long, all you do is leave the rest of your team at a disadvantage. Before we move on to mistake number 9, if you're enjoying this video or finding it helpful at all, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps me out. And also, if you have any questions or want to watch me play the game live in top 500, I stream every single day over at twitch.tv/Rush.
Yeah, I gotta check out his streams.
So moving on, we have mistake number 9, which is mainly targeted towards duelist and strategist players, but that is simply not having enough uptime. Uptime generally means how consistently you're doing damage, or in the case of supports, damaging and healing. You should always be looking for
healers. If you need to heal and do damage, just like how DPSs need to do damage, and I think that's it, right? No, I'm just kidding. They need to do damage and they need to protect the strategist. So that's what DPSs should be doing. And healers, obviously, you guys can protect yourselves more than you let on. But like, come on, DPS is like, if they're pinging the Spider-Man coming in, you need to turn your fat fucking big back ass around and shoot it.
Opportunities to do damage as often as possible, especially as a duelist. It puts pressure onto the enemy team, which can force them to use resources, give up space, or
and obviously, I should have clarified this. Like, it's not just strategists that do damage and healing. Like, tanks tank and do damage. Like, everyone on the team should be doing damage, but obviously the DPSs should be doing the most damage because, like, that's literally their key job, right? But like I said, we've talked about this in a video in the past, like, stats don't really matter, but like, if you aren't shooting at people and like almost securing kills or lowering them enough for someone to secure a kill, and you're not moving onto the objective, you're doing something wrong. And if you're just playing DPS Mantis or DPS Jeff, I hate you. I hope you know that.
Even find you a kill. It's also important to help build your ult. The more damage you're doing, the faster you're building ult charge. Way too often in lower ranks, I'll see the duelists standing way too far in the backline, missing half their shots and putting zero pressure on the enemy team. Look for off angles, play near cover, and be constantly shooting at the enemy team to keep a high uptime. For strategist players, you should still be doing the same thing, but to a lesser extent. You still need to make sure nobody on your team is dying or in danger of dying, but if your team doesn't need healing, that doesn't mean you get to sit on point and do nothing hiding behind your tanks. You should always be looking for opportunities to do damage. If you're below Grandmaster and think you have high uptime, I recommend you go into a replay to see how often you're actually putting pressure on the enemy team, because there might be more opportunities to do damage than you realize. It wouldn't be a common mistakes video without talking about bad positioning. There's a lot to cover here, but I will do my best to keep it simple. This is mainly targeted towards duelists and strategists, as tank positioning is going to be entirely different. First, not enough lower rank supports and duelists play on off angles. I explained off angles earlier in this video, so I won't go over it all again, but you should always be actively thinking about how to incorporate them into your gameplay. The next thing to talk about here is just generally bad positioning. And in the most simple way, bad positioning means you are not playing near cover. You should always be looking to position yourself around cover when you can, and if you're making a play that requires you to be in open space, you should think about where you can go for immediate cover when you are in danger. For example, if you have a Mantis ult active, you don't really need to worry about if you're in the open. The ult is going to keep you alive, but you should be thinking about where you're going to go as soon as that ult is over so you don't end up in the open with nowhere to hide.
Yeah, because they're about to gangbang that Mantis 3 different ways with the biggest venom cocks you've ever seen. 19 inches of venom going in every single hole, so you better run away.
You could use anything as cover, a vending machine, a corner at a choke, a random wall, but in general, you always need to think about where you can go to safely hide and wait for healing or cooldowns as soon as you're—
This is a good tip for anyone pushing the objective. Use the, the payload, I guess I should say. Use the payload as cover. Like, obviously, Moon Knight can kind of counter this, but just shoot the Ankh. It's not that hard, guys.
In danger. Finally, the last positioning related mistake I want to talk about is overextending. If you are alone and too far up past your team, it's incredibly easy to get—
We're looking at you, Hulk, Venom, Captain America, Spider-Man, Black Panther, every strategist in the game, because I swear you guys think you are the tanks. Don't know why.
Get focused by the enemy team and get picked off. A lot of players who play dive heroes think they need to be in front of the enemy spawn trying to kill the supports as soon as they leave base, but all that—
Yeah, leave that to Winter Soldier. That is his job, to ult you into spawn and never let you leave again.
Happens if—
or me as Wolverine, I will never let you leave that spawn.
If you're too far forward, is the entire enemy team turns on you, and now it's a 5v6. So always try to keep an idea of where your team is and ask yourself, can my supports or tanks help me get out if I get CC'd? Am I in line of sight of my support so I can get healed? Can my team capitalize on this space I'm making by walking forward and collapsing on the enemy team while they try to kill me?
Oh, look,
if the
Winter
answer to
Soldier.
those questions is no, chances are you are overextended. Finally, we have mistake number 11, which is tunnel visioning. Tunnel visioning is when you're too focused on one specific target or goal and don't—
Oh my god, I have this problem only as one character, and that's Wolverine. Because, dude, sometimes I'm just destroying the team, and oh my god, someone grabs my nuts the wrong way, bro, and I'm locked in, like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. And I see right, and I chase them all the way to the spawn, but I don't usually die because I just, jump away,
Pay attention to what's going on around you. For duelists, this means spamming all your shots into one target who isn't killable, missing the fact that there's someone else who's completely vulnerable and in a bad position. For strategists, this means you're spamming heals on someone who doesn't need it while the rest of your team dies around you. You should do your best to not tunnel on one target for more than a few seconds. Shooting the tank but they're getting healed to full health, look for a duelist or strategist to target instead. Healing your tank in the front line, if they aren't critical anymore, look around you to see if your other support or duelist needs healing. In general, just pay attention to what's going on around you as much as possible. So those are the 11 most common mistakes I see in low elo.
That was awesome, man. I love the video brush. Just make sure you subscribe and like this video. The video will be in the description below as usual. And yeah, tell me what you guys think about these, common mistakes in low elo. Do you guys do any of them? Have you guys learned anything from this video? Do you guys have anything to add to these common mistakes? And yeah, or just say whatever you want in the comments. That's half the time what you guys do anyways. Remember to like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.